I had an idea. So this idea was this. I was going to get all these people to put up, every person come in with $1,000. And we get a pool and we invest. We have a decision and we invest into this thing, and what the pool is doing, you'll see it grow. They told me it was a Ponzi scheme.
Mm-hmm.
That I can't gather people to put money into a fund.
Yeah, it gets dicey.
Yeah, I don't understand.
It gets very dicey. You got to go through a lot of regulations and to make sure that it's not a Ponzi scheme, essentially, because there's been so many of them.
Such a great idea.
There's been so many of them. Yeah. Well, they're supposed to potentially have stimulus checks for everybody. It'll be $1,200 per person and $2,400 for married couples, with an additional $500 per child.
If you make less than $75,000.
That's what it is, yeah. But then there's going to be a minimum of everyone's going to get a minimum of $600, which I think is not the greatest of idea, because people like you and I shouldn't be getting $600.
I think one of my growers is going to be like, what, you want an ounce?
Right, exactly. People like you and I who make over a certain amount should just be excluded from this altogether, and they should take that money and give it to people who actually need it, where $600 could keep them going for another month.
Yeah.
You know, for us, it's an amount of money that makes absolutely no difference in our lives.
2 ounces a week.
Yeah. So,
which is a great exchange. The government should just say, we're going to give you Here's 2 ounces of Deuces 22. I will supply it, and no one is going to complain except when they run out.
Exactly. I don't know what this is going to do for the economy. $1,200 per person, $500 per child. I'm sure it's nice. I don't know how.
It's called socialism.
Yeah, pretty much. Because it's not going to stimulate the economy very much.
It's called socialism.
It'll get
and they want to see if we are okay with dealing with socialism.
Yeah.
This is a socialistic act.
Yeah.
The government doing that is what they do in China. Just thought I mentioned.
Or Soviet Union, where I grew up in.
Yeah.
Where I lived until I was 5 years old. Not grew up in, but I was 5 when I left. I came from a communist country. I am fully aware of what happens when you have a communist country. The side effect of it. It sounds great in theory, but I remember very clearly.
But Russia was kicking it for a while. For like 10 years, they were on a roll.
Longer than that.
In 10 years, that was the spot to be in. It was more expensive to buy Louis Vuitton in Moscow than it was in Italy. So, I mean, it was, that's when the money came in. The owner of the Nets.
Yeah.
He ran for president.
Oh, did he?
He ran for president against Putin, knowing he was going to lose. But he's a billionaire that did that.
Surprised he's still alive.
To help his friend. He Bloomberg'd the situation.
He Bloomberg'd the situation, yeah. I mean, let me tell you, for everyone that thinks that these protests in Hong Kong are going to accomplish a lot and that China is going to turn democratic, there are more billionaires in the Chinese cabinet than essentially any other group on earth. Like, those people are not letting go of shit.
No.
They have multi-generational wealth to such an extreme that they do not care who is standing in their way. They are not going to let that situation crumble and it turn into free elections where they're all going to get voted out. It's not going to happen.
So let's also talk about what's going on in Hong Kong. So in 1999, Hong Kong was the British rule and the British flag was taken down, and any control they had in Hong Kong was reverted back to mainland China.
Right.
Mainland China had already was in the process of finishing what Shanghai known as the free market district. What they want in Hong Kong, one of the things they want is to continue to be ruled the way they were.
The initial riots were because the people that were arrested in Hong Kong, they wanted to extradite them back into mainland China. Mm-hmm. And that was what all the anger was about. Right. But I think they ended up stopping that.
Right.
But still, there was still a lot of unrest.
Right. They're changing. I remember I was blessed to speak to the Dalai Lama, and he was explaining what
you spoke to the Dalai Lama?
Yeah, I got.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm
I got-
lightweight jealous right now.
Yeah, you know, I got an audience with the, you know,
Okay.
with your holiness.
How was that?
Dude,
Tell me what the Dalai Lama was like in person.
Okay, so the Dalai Lama walks in. Well, first, they get you there. You did 2 days before you're going to get to what you're doing. And I think because they're watching you, which is a good thing, watching and see whatever people who are invited to come in. So when you come in, you go to the first level, and there's people there, and they greet you, and they're looking at you, and they stare at you. And there's somebody constantly staring at you, like trying to find what's going on in your energy. They tell you, they have a conversation when holiness come in, please don't touch them, don't do any rash movements, da-da-da-da-da. You go to the second floor, and there's another 4 people staring there.
Wow.
And they're like this, and they're watching everything you do. They're seeing they had already checked you for everything and making sure the cameras don't have anything. Then the third level, you go in, and they said, when he comes in, do not move. If he wants to talk to you, he'll talk to you. You got 15 minutes. So that whole 9 days I was there before was going to be for the 15. And I wasn't losing out my 15 minutes with the holiness.
Okay.
And so as he walks in, the doors come open, and people start bowing, bowing. I go, what's up? I swear to you. I go, I'm staring at him, catch my eye, I go, what's up? He goes, and he sits down, he makes everybody sit down, he goes, you. He goes, you have a really nice face. He said, you're a very powerful man. I said, I was about to say the same stuff about you. He starts laughing because I was so nervous, I almost said shit to him. And he said, come here. Now they told us don't move. So I look to my right and my left, and everyone looks at me. I get up and I sit down, and he starts talking, and he's laughing, and he's giggling. And he said, what do you want? I was wearing a shirt, man. And it said, love is love, be good. And he said, what do you want? I said, first, I want to say, when did you know that you were who you were? And second, I want an autograph. And so I held my shirt out, and he wrote it in Tibetan. And he said to us, the reason I'm writing this in Tibetan, and they'll transcribe it for you so you'll know what I wrote, is because the language is dying, because China is destroying every mosque, every temple, and every writing we ever put up. Because they do not want that thought to filter throughout the rest of China.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the whole Free Tibet movement was big in like the late 90s. You know, the Beastie Boys had concerts and everything, and it just sort of died down after a while.
Yeah, I stayed in Richard Gere's room at the place right outside the palace.
Nice.
But the funny thing was he was alive, he was funny, he was laughing back and forth. Women said that he complimented him. He wasn't standoffish at all. He wrote over 300 books. This dude, there's a bookstore just with his writings. And he's never gone to school. He had the masters coming to him. And I said, when did you know that you were this? And he said, when did you know? And I said, about you? He goes, no, about you. I was like, wow. I said, I was 6. He said, right. So at 6, 10, 12, you fought it. You didn't do it. You want to do everything else. He said, but then by 18, you said, this is my path. And that's exactly what happened. So you graduate high school and you go, I got to do well in college if I'm going to be the pro. And he was the same way. He said, I fought this for a long time. He said, at 18, I decided this was my calling and I was going to do it.